Hi, Dr. Merez and class. Thank you for tuning in to my presentation. I'd like to begin today by introducing my audience members. I'd begin with my brother, Steven. Hi. My daughter. And my beautiful mother. I'd like to thank them for helping me with my presentation today. Let's begin by letting everybody get their seats. We'll get comfortable here for a second. I want you to imagine that you wake up from a restful night's sleep and you go to turn over in bed, but your body doesn't move, you're paralyzed. You can't even call for help. Or perhaps you're walking across a parking lot and you randomly collapse like a puppet whose strings have been cut. These are just two of the symptoms of functional neurological disorder, otherwise known as FND. This little known condition is actually the second most common reason people are referred to see a neurologist. I began researching this condition in 2021 following my daughter's diagnosis. And after countless doctor's visits and multiple research binges, it was actually determined that I have a more mild version of the condition. Today, I'd like to discuss with you what functional neurological disease is, some of the signs and symptoms, and the struggles patients that suffer from it face. While this condition is not widely known today, it's actually been around since ancient times. In fact, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, actually spoke about the disease, but he called it hysteria, which in ancient Greece means wandering uterus, because that's what he thought caused the condition. Obviously, we know that's not what it is. So what is functional neurological disease? FND is considered a motion disorder that's both neurological and psychological. However, there's not much really known about the condition. What we do know is that if you consider the brain a computer, patients with things like epilepsy or Parkinson's have hardware issues where something is structurally wrong that causes abnormalities to happen. FND is considered a problem with the software, the connections in the brain that help us relate to outside stimulus. There's two categories under FND: psychogenic non-epileptic seizures and functional motion disorder. However, patients often face a combined type of this condition. It's important to note that there's no cure, there's no definitive treatment, and there's also no medicine. As I've mentioned, functional neurological disorder can cause abnormalities in body movements and throughout the entire body. So as you can expect, these symptoms can vary greatly. In fact, most patients suffer different forms of the condition. One of the symptoms, psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, otherwise known as PNES, cause patients to experience seizure-like symptoms just like a patient with epilepsy. The only difference is when doctors hook patients up to an EEG machine, they don't see any electrical impulses causing problems, which means it's a psychogenic seizure. The National Institute of Neurological Disorders also says that patients that suffer from PNES can experience confusion, loss of consciousness, and even memory loss. Now let's speak about the movement disorder side of it. Patients can suffer from Tourette's-like tics, muscle stiffness, muscle weakness, paralysis. They also suffer from sudden vision loss, sudden hearing loss, and the inability to speak. Another symptom, which I spoke about earlier, is something called a drop attack, which is when a patient randomly faints and looks like they've lost consciousness. As you can imagine, this is a very alarming and scary symptom. The commonality between all of these symptoms is that doctors can't see any structural reason for these things to be happening. Now, doctors can't see is the key. Because doctors can't see, patients often struggle from several different problems. One being that some neurologists feel like this condition is only psychological, while psychologists feel like there's something structurally wrong. This has historically led to a lack of research into the condition, which is why we still today have no cure or even definitive treatment. Patients also suffer from medical bias. As we all know, mental conditions are often looked down upon. Patients often hear things like, "It's just in your head. Stop, get over it." Unfortunately, this isn't possible. A lot of times, some patients are even rendered disabled and often become ambulatory wheelchair users. This is something that's happened to my daughter. This is my daughter's wheelchair. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me adjust our camera here for a second. This is the wheelchair that my daughter's required to use. Because she suffers from drop attacks, she can't go back to school unless she's in a wheelchair for safety purposes. Research and education are key to helping those that struggle with this condition. Today, I hope I've helped you increase your awareness of this condition, of what F&D is, some of the signs and symptoms of the condition, and also the struggles that patients face. I hope I've given you a better understanding of the condition and how to help those that may have it. The more we learn about this condition and the more we educate ourselves, the better we can help those who suffer from it. If you'd like to learn more, please visit fndhope.org. F&D Hope is a charitable organization that tries to increase awareness and help patients that suffer from this. Again, that's fndhope.org, because research and education are our only way forward. Again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into my presentation, and I hope I've helped increase your awareness. Thank you.
Very good.